Hello and welcome to another Edexcel iGCSE Computer Science Past Paper question. We are now up to question 8 of the sample materials. Question 8. Security is a big concern when using computers. It's also an important consideration as new applications are developed. Identify the software which checks against unauthorized access to a network computer. Is it A. HTTPS, B. Antivirus, C. Anti-spyware, or D. A firewall? The answer is, of course, D. A firewall. B. Explain why a person attempting to gain unauthorized access to a network computer can sometimes benefit the owner of the network. Can sometimes benefit the owner of the network because it can highlight security vulnerabilities that the owner of the network can then work to fill and to find a solution to. So my answer then is sometimes a person attempting to gain unauthorized access to a network computer can highlight security vulnerabilities which can also be addressed. Now, this person could also be paid to act as a hacker and to find the security issues. So it could be someone that has just attempted to gain unauthorized access, or it could be someone that the company or organization has paid to do this so we can find out the security vulnerabilities. C. Quite an interesting question. Users are forced to change their passwords every 28 days. This requires an algorithm that reports the days in any given month. The algorithm must report the number of days in a month based on the number entered, e.g. 1 is January, 2 is February, etc. The pseudocode algorithm does not produce accurate results. These are the test results. So we look at this, okay? Input 2, the month is February and has 28 days, okay? Actual behavior, so that's expected behavior. The actual behavior, it says that it's March and has 31 days. Input 13, it should say the number isn't valid, but it produces a runtime error out of range. -4 not valid, but it produces again a runtime error. Figure 3 shows the errors on lines 12, 13 and 14. Okay, so 12, 13 and 14 are what we're looking at there. Now if we scroll down further still, we need to write the replacement codes for lines 12, 13 and 14. So let's start with line 12 then. And what I'll do is I'll write on here replacement code rather than in the question, but you should normally write in the question as your answer, but I'm going to write on here just for demonstration purposes. Okay, so line 12. If number is greater than 1 or number is less than 12, then, okay, so there's a few things wrong with that we need to change. So we start with line 12. So I still want an equals if there, okay, but this time what I need to do is look at that number. Now, the test data showed that if I tried to enter January, it won't work. Or if I try to enter December, it won't work because it needs to be not greater than 1. It needs to be changed to greater than or equal. Now, I'm going to leave a space because I need to change that operator as well. So number, again, less than or equal to 12. So that will let us deal with January and December. Now that operator needs to change because what we're saying with that operator or is it can be greater than 1 or it could be less than 12. So it's or. Now it will also allow for 13, 14 because it's an or. Because number greater than 1 could be 13, 14, 15. Number less than 12 could be -1, -2, etc. Now, we need to change the operator there from an or to an and. So what we're saying with that is it either needs to be greater than or equal to 1 and needs to be less than or equal to 12. So it has to be within that range. There are only 12 months in the year and it has to be within that range. Now that is 3 marks, but there's a 4th mark to get and I need to look at lines 12 and 13. I need to correct that. Okay, and I'm going to correct them here. Set month to month names number. Now, we just scroll and we just look at that. Okay, month name, January, February, March. Array indexing starts at 0. So, January is not 1, it's normally month 1, but in the array, it's 0. So what we need to do is change that number in square brackets to number -1 and put it back in the square brackets there, okay? That has to be number -1 because array indexing starts at 0. And this also has to be number -1. Because if we didn't change that, what we would have is January would be 2. So January is set to 0 in the array, but it would ignore that and it would start 1. So February would be 1. March would be 2nd, etc. Okay, so we set it to number minus 1 because array indexing starts at 0. And that is my 4 marks. Question D. A group of programmers is developing a software application that will be used over a network. It's very important that the software application has no security vulnerabilities. Discuss how the programs could minimize security vulnerabilities during development. Now, to help me answer this, I've used PowerPoint just because it makes life a bit easier. When you get a question like this, 6 marks, you need to write a plan. 6 marks, 8 marks, you need to be planning it out. 6 marks is a big chunk of marks and you don't want to be losing them. You want to be gaining 6 marks. 6 marks could be the difference between 2 grade boundaries. So I'm going to plan it out and I'm going to start thinking about organizing my thoughts, showing good organization to get top mark boundaries. Think about what the question's really asking me. Make sure I don't leave anything out, and to get my thoughts on paper so they can be written neatly later. 6 marks can be the difference between a grade boundary and help push you up to another grade. In your exam, you're going to be stressed out. You're going to be thinking about getting stuff onto paper as soon as you can. Don't do that. Plan it first. Get what's in your head on paper first in a plan. Then you can start writing up your answer in a more logical and structured way and gain those marks. It is really important that you plan these questions out. Because when I look at this, okay, level 3, 5 to 6 marks, I've got to show that clear, coherent, logically structured line of reasoning there. If I'm just writing whatever comes into my head, just listing it down, I'm not going to be doing that. So plan first. Plan first. That's my big exam tip today. Plan it first. I want you to do well. So plan your question. So put the question here. Okay. What I've done is listed the security vulnerabilities that can happen during development. Development cycle. Security built from initial plans. Security is considered from day 1. Security is part of all steps in the cycle. So when we're writing our program, we should be thinking of security from day 1. It should be part of the plans. That's what I'm saying there. Programming languages. How do we know that a language is safe? Some languages do have built-in security holes. The programmer should be aware of this and not use any unsecure aspects of the language. The programmer should use appropriate settings on language translators. Programming habits. Poor programming habits by the programmer can lead to problems. The code should be reviewed by other people. Ideally, there will be a team of programmers tracking changes as the code developed. As the code developed, it's important that changes are tracked and monitored. There should be good version control. Security issues arise, it can be tracked back to the version of the code where it first arose. Testing. Testing is really important and should be thorough and should be done as a design right in the planning stage. So you design your test before you even write any code. So I'm going to take all those points that I've listed there and I'm going to start to construct my answer to this question. So take the first point there that I've written, development cycle there. And here's part of my answer that I've written. So I've kind of taken my bullet points there and written it up as a proper response here in sentence form. Then I've looked at the next point. I've looked at programming languages. So I've kind of taken that now and written that up into sentence form as well. Then I've added programming habits and written that into sentence form. So taking the bullet points and put it into sentence form. Thinking about grammar and structure of my sentence. Then I've looked at testing, version control. Then I've written a conclusion, just to sum up my points there, and just to really kind of reiterate any main points that I wanted to make. Programmers can minimize risk by writing secure code and testing the code fully in the ways I've suggested in my answer. So here is my full answer to that question. So if you want to read that fully, you can pause that now and read that out. That is quite a lot, and maybe it's too much for 6 marks, but I'd rather sort of err on the caution of writing too much, on the side of caution of writing too much than writing too little. And you get 2 hours in this exam, and I think you've got time to plan the question out and just write as much as you can. And to me, that is a 6 mark answer there, because I've really analysed it. I've really looked at the main points there. So I've demonstrated key knowledge, understanding of the network relevant knowledge and understanding of key concept principles of computer science. And most importantly, we see the difference between level 3 and level 2. It's structured, coherent, and logically structured, a sustained line of reasoning. So I've tried to make that as clear as possible, and I've done that through planning my answer rather than simply sitting down and writing whatever comes into my head. I've planned it first, and I'm more likely to get level 3. Whereas I think without planning, you probably end up just getting level 2, no matter how good your answer is, because you haven't structured it in a logical, clear way. So that completes question 8, and that completes the whole of the paper. So as always, I want to say a big thank you for watching this video, and please, if you haven't already, I'm sure you have, please like and subscribe. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.